Hello, my name is Marian. I'm from the blog Miss Mustard Seed.
And I'm Kriste. I'm from the blog Rosemary and Thyme.
And this is Design Ramblings, where we talk about anything and all things design related. And today we're picking up sort of the end of last week's conversation where we were talking about when you decorate, like, are you decorating for your family or are you decorating for yourself? Right. And I think maybe sometimes it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's all about us.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, so what are your thoughts on that?
I've really tried to work on this because before I married David, I was very kind of more girly and I liked more pastels and florals and he was like, I just can't. Like, I can't do it. I'm sorry. So I still have some of those things, but it's definitely more suited to what the both of us like. So I was kind of sneaky in how I got stuff for our house. I instead of spending a lot of money on florals for our wedding, I did centerpieces with like antique and vintage stuff, and then some local hydrangeas. So I actually got a lot of stuff for our house for the wedding. So we kind of did a lot of shopping together for that, and so I kind of got to blend our two styles together. David's very modern, very like, not hospital, but, you know, clean, glass.
Hospital.
White. Metal cabinet.
He wants like an adjustable bed, a call button.
I don't think he'd say no to that. No, but he just likes things very clean, very...
Does he like IKEA, like
yes,
that kind of stuff?
Harsh lines and black and white, you know. And I pick up some of that a little bit, but I'm definitely more like, I like older things, I like more Scandinavian, you know, whatever. So bringing those two together has been a little bit of a challenge, but it's something that I definitely try and work on. I don't always succeed.
Now, is he really vocal about it? And opinionated?
Because I used to be.
I know some people who... they'll send me emails, or I know people personally too who are like, how do you, like, does Jeff let you do all that, or how do you get him to agree with what you want to do? And I think it's like every marriage is different, and every, when you're sharing a space with somebody, there's always going to be a different dynamic. And I know some people whose spouses are extremely opinionated, or we have two people who are very opinionated, right, and very different in how they want the design to go. And I think that's where you have a challenge. And then you have some, like, with Jeff and I, Jeff doesn't really care. I think, so I've seen some comments before where, people assume that I don't care what he thinks, but I do. It's just he doesn't care. Right. He's like, okay, whatever you like. And I think he's learned to trust my judgment on decorating. Years ago when we were first married and I'd bring home some junky thing, he would just be like, oh my gosh, are you serious? That is not going in our house. And I'm like, yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be in our living room. It's just like, so, but then he's learned, and it actually has gotten to the point, like when we got that crusty counter there, he's like, man, that was a great deal. That's going to look amazing cleaned up.
Like, that's right.
He's been converted. But where he does draw the line is when my decorating interferes with his daily functional life. Yes. So, like, if I start putting too much stuff on his nightstand, or if he doesn't have a place to set his stuff on his dresser or something, he's like, this is gone. This is gone. Don't want this here. Like, very...
And ceiling fans, too. Him and David. Like,
now, we had a ceiling fan in our bedroom, and I finally talked him out. Now, it was fun. I'm like, okay, I understand you like the ceiling fan, you want it when you sleep. That's okay. I understand. And we kept it for years. But then finally, he's like, I really could just use a little fan. I really just want the noise. And so I'll just do that, and you can put your chandelier up. But like in the living room, we have fans in our living room because he just really wants them. Mm-hmm. So, it's okay. They're not,
they're nice.
They are nice fans. As far as fans go, they're nice. And I'm not anti-ceiling fan. It's just...
Oh, I am.
I would prefer to not have them, but, I mean, in some places, like, you need a ceiling fan. Like, I would rather have a ceiling fan and just deal with it than be hot and sweaty trying to sleep.
I think we're still renting, and the house that we're in now, every single room except for the bathrooms because they can't fit has a ceiling. Like, I'm not joking. Like, we have our second floor is technically 2 bedrooms, but they're like adjoined with no door, and both rooms have ceiling fans. So it's like, so I think that that's kind of like made me even more bitter towards the ceiling fan. But
see, growing
David
up,
loves them.
Yeah, growing up, we always had every bedroom had a ceiling fan, and the family room had a ceiling fan. Because I think, I don't know, we just did. But in Florida, you kind of, I don't know, you kind of needed ceiling fans. But anyway, yeah, I do think that. So I think every dynamic is going to be different, and when you're dealing with someone who's really opinionated, of course you have to take into account what they want, even if it's different than what you want, and you have to take into account, like, how is your family going to use the space? Like, if you have babies, you just have to change your decorating around the safety of your babies. So, like, you know, you want to have things where that might hurt them, where they can't reach them. You know, you have the bouncy seats and the jumperoos and all, and it was pretty funny actually. Before I had like when I was pregnant, I thought, I'm just gonna get like an antique cradle.
Yeah, that's how I feel right now.
And a pretty little quilt, and those are gonna be where my baby is gonna play, and there's gonna be, I don't want any blinky, noisy thing. And then you get a baby, and you're like, whatever will make you happy. I will get you a jumperoo, an extra saucer, a bouncy seat, a Johnny jump up, like whatever will make you happy, and give me a chance to take a shower.
I'm still in that fantasy.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, you'll get out of that. Just wait. Like, Marian, let's go hit a yard sale and look for an extra saucer. I need one. And I think for kids too, like, they have to have room to play and places to play, and my kids can play in the whole house. Like, somebody actually on Instagram, like, somebody had shared my home tour that I shared a week ago, and somebody made a comment and said, well, but you can't eat on white slip covers. And they were saying it kind of jokingly. I'm like, well, we eat on, why not? We eat on ours all the time. Like, that's the great thing about slip covers, is you can wash them. Yeah, like, we do. I mean, there have been Oreo face plants on my white slip covers, and you just throw them in the wash, and it's not a big
I think
deal.
that's where, like, practicality and, you know, design come together, is doing things like a slip cover where it's like, well, I really want it to look like this, but it needs to be functional, so I'm going to slip cover it where I can just pull it off and throw it in the wash. I think this topic is really funny because first time I met Marian, I went and saw her speak at her church, and I have little notes in, like, an original book from her that I had signed, and one of the big things that I remember her talking about was how when you cross over between, like, when your house doesn't become about your family anymore, like, that's a problem. And I really took note from that, and kind of, as I was getting ready to get married, like, really planned kind of, you know, how I wanted my husband to feel about the house we lived in. Like, I wanted him to feel like it was his home too, and you know, sometimes he brings home things and I'm like, oh man. But, you know, you work it in, like, you just make it work, and then it really is, you know, it reflects your family, or, you know, you and your spouse. And I think that's more special than kind of anything, you know, even if you had, like, the perfect magazine house, like, if it doesn't reflect who you are as a family, it's kind of pointless.
It's going to be empty. Yeah, and I've often thought that on the days when I'm on a rampage, because that's my tendency to go to, is like, would everybody just not live here and let me have my pretty house, please? And some days I'll get in that kind of mood, and I'm really irritated at the fact that everybody's trying to live in that house while I'm trying to decorate it. And then I realized, like, it sort of hits me, like, you know what I would have at the end of my life if I didn't have them, and I'd have you know, it'd be me in a pretty house that would get, like, auctioned off bit by bit.
My best friend's dad, and he always says, you can't take it with you.
Yeah.
He always says that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people say that, you know, it's just, it's a temporal thing. It's not eternal. It's not.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think trying to keep all that in the proper perspective does help you when, you know, your husband brings home, like, the lazy boy that he's been. Now, no knock on lazy boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That just like an overstuffed, monstrously large chair.
We have a couch right now that I'm just like, it's just killing me. But David loves it, and
is it just because it's comfortable?
Yeah, he loves it because it's comfy and it's huge and it's basically a bed, and we pay like $20 for it, so it's great. But and he's even willing. I told him, I was like, well, if we slip cover, it's gonna be a good amount of money, and he's willing.
Oh, okay.
To do it, so
because I think concessions can be made. Like Jeff and I will sometimes have this discussion, like where he's like, if it's got to be functional, and I'm like, well, it can be functional and pretty at the same time. It can be both. It doesn't have if it's pretty, it's not possibly going to be functional. And in his defense, we have had a lot of like decorative chairs. Like, don't sit in that; it'll break. Anyway, but seriously, I do think it's something people struggle with. So I think it's a good. Yeah. I think it's a good topic. I wrote about it a lot in my book because I was sort of in that place where I was really struggling with contentment and with looking at things from a proper perspective. And I don't always get it right. I still sometimes I think go too far to the extreme where I want the house to just be what I want. I want everybody else to let me just do it. So, but I'm working on that, and as we all have things that we work on.
That's right.
Yeah. So anyway, we would love some suggestions of things that you would like us to ramble about, and also we'd love to talk about some spaces. So if you have a space that you are just stumped on and would like an opinion, we'd love to talk about it on YouTube and share our thoughts and ideas with everybody. And you can find us all over social media. We're both on Instagram and occasionally on Twitter, and we're on Facebook and all of those things. So you can find us there. And of course on our blogs as well. Lots of inspiration and ideas to share on our blogs. So we will see you next time. That's right. Yep.
I haven't killed anything yet. You have something on your nose here. There you go.
Got it? Yeah. Okay. It just didn't look good. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, I have to water them a lot, which makes me nervous, but I don't know why I'm like comparing my watering speed to your watering speed.
You don't even know how much I water.
I asked you.
Oh. It's like,
no,
it's the hidden camera.
No, you told me. Your bonus features.
Right. Talking about our plants. I gotta work on those endings. I always have trouble with those.
Well,
maybe you need to do the endings.